people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
I think Xander's gonna win. I think people are underestimating Xander so much. It's insane to me. Like people are all like, "Oh, like Xander's not ready for Boots. This isn't, oh, Boots is gonna wash him out. Boots is gonna do this. Boots is gonna do that." Xander's a world champ, a multiple belt world champ, and he's showcased who he is time and time again. I think people are just like washing him out or like overlooking him because he's so young, but I'm giving it to Xander. I think Xander's his boxing ability, his ring IQ, his presence, his just stature. I think it's going to be tough for anybody to beat him. And so I'm excited for this fight. And I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. But my money's on Xander.
I do agree with Richard that perhaps Xander Zayas is being overlooked ahead of this Boots fight because it is a different situation and Xander presents a somewhat different challenge for Boots that he's not yet faced. Often the case in the welterweight division, Boots was the bigger man, the noticeably bigger man than most everyone that he fought, whereas this time, he won't be the biggest guy in the ring. Perhaps that might matter. Xander looks to be a little bit taller and a bit heavier than Jaron Ennis, which may add some steam, add some sting to the punches, even though Xander Zayas is not known as a knockout merchant or all that heavy-handed a puncher. Because he's heavier than anybody Boots ever fought, it might make a difference. I say might because we ain't gonna know until the bell rings. In tandem with his style, that Xander Zayas doesn't make himself a stationary target, he's a mover, and we've seen in the past that movement can help to offset Boots' power in the two Karen Chukadzian fights. What bought Karen Chukadzian time? Why didn't he get knocked out? It's because he kept moving. And Xander is a mover. Jaron Ennis being relatively new to this weight, we haven't really seen what he can do. And how good is he really at 154? We haven't had the chance because he's only had one fight there. In spite of all these intangibles, I believe that the bookies have Jaron Ennis as the betting favorite, and I've often highlighted here on the channel that he's the one with all the hype around him, not Xander. So maybe that's why Richard Torres feels that Xander's being overlooked because all the hype is around Boots and the betting favorite is Boots. One Boots' resume isn't much better than Xander's, but what separates them is that Xander's in his early 20s, Boots is close to 30. You should have a better looking resume than that, as old as you are. In spite of those observations, Boots is the favorite going in. He's the one with all the hype around him. Recently highlighted by a caller who called into the Boxing Voice saying as much.
Got Boots, man. You talk about Boots, your guy, bro.
The bootleg Terrence Crawford. That
said
guy?
Bootleg Terrence Crawford.
I swear to you, every time this nigga talking during an interview, he like a glass window. I can see right through him, man. He got to live up to this hype that everybody done praise him to be. This man that can walk on water, that can fly like a bird, can do all things. That's the next Roy Jones, the next Terrence Crawford, the baddest thing out of Philly. He ain't did shit. He's so-called his number one pound for pound on the list. None of these boys can do nothing with me. Everybody already know nobody can do nothing with me. Shut your ass up, Boots. Like I'm gonna tell you, like I told Shakur and all these other niggas. Don't tell us. Show us, nigga.
Satisfying to hear that I'm not the only one who's grown critical of Jaron Ennis over time, trying to wrap my mind around what the hype is supposed to be. What did this guy do and who did this guy beat that he's been getting this massive vote of confidence for so many years now when he only rose to popularity as the anti-Crawford when Showtime decided to use him as a shield to protect Errol Spence Jr. and shift the focus. They tried to make it about Crawford versus Boots when it was already about Crawford versus Spence. It was very obvious, but that's how he came into popularity. And now at close to 30 years old, greatly lacking substance in his welterweight campaign, he's at junior middleweight now, and people are starting to wonder, well, what is all the fuss about? What's the hype around this guy? It's not like he beat anybody spectacular. Part of the reason I've maintained that Xander Zayas can afford to lose this Boots fight a lot more than Boots because Xander's younger, he's got more time to recover, and he's not the one that's been put on a pedestal. Boots has.
Expectations are really high for Boots.
He's 28 years old. But for a perspective, by age 28, Sugar Ray Leonard had already fought Tommy Hearns. I believe they were both 26 at the time. Oscar De La Hoya had already fought Felix Trinidad. They were both about 26 at the time. Fast forward to a more contemporary fighter by age 27. Canelo had already fought Floyd Mayweather, Austin Trout, Erislandy Lara, Miguel Cotto, and Gennady Golovkin at least once, all by age 27. 1 year younger than Jaron Ennis is now. So what is all the hype around a guy who really doesn't have any signature wins, and so far, the best fighter that he's fought is a Montestinianis?
Stop the cap.
Something's gotta give. That's why there is a lot riding on this fight for Jaron Ennis, perhaps more than Xander Zayas. If he loses, he's young enough to rebound and young enough to go on, and we know the Puerto Rican boxing fans are fiercely loyal. They're not all hung up on an unbeaten record.
But let Boots go out there and lose.
It actually would be worse for him because a lot is expected of him. I don't know that Xander Zayas will be the one to do it. Will he be the one to give Jaron Ennis his first professional loss?
I don't know. I just know that it's about time that Boots do a bit more to live up to the hype.
Because there's been a lot of that. A lot of eye tests, a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda. He might do this and he'd beat that guy.
Okay, so let's fucking see it. Ain't that what we're here to do?
Men's cruiserweight news. Jose Benavidez Sr. says Canelo will end up in the hospital if he fights David.
Oh my fucking God.
Benavidez bullied, blitzed, and battered Zurdo with blistering hand speed and scored a 6th-round stoppage win to capture the WBA and WBO cruiserweight crowns during his division debut. After the bout, Benavidez surveyed a series of options, including fights against Jaio Pataya, Dimitri Bivol, and, of course, Canelo Alvarez. Benavidez's father and trainer, Jose Sr., further fanned the flames towards Alvarez, advising him not to take the fight for the sake of his own health.
This guy don't get tired of saying the same thing? You've got people stopping by my channel, leaving comments under my videos, telling me that David is the new face of boxing. I say that if he were, they wouldn't have to keep bringing up Canelo to promote him.
After beating Ramirez, Benavidez, 29, took the mic and lobbied yet another challenge towards the soon-to-be 36-year-old Alvarez. I've seen Canelo in the building. Let me just ask the fans this. Do you guys want to see Canelo versus Benavidez? Benavidez said as the fans roared in approval. Enough said. We can't leave that fight on the table. I have respect for Canelo, who is a great champion, but I'm a great champion too, so let's do it. I'm still the WBC champion at 175, and I'm champion at cruiser, so if they want to come get it at 175, let's get it at 175.
He'd have to chop off both his legs to get back down there at this point.
Alvarez is next supposed to face the WBC super middleweight champion Christian Mabili on September 12th in Saudi as part of a Mexico versus the World show, and plans to stay at super middleweight for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and David plans on staying at cruiser for the foreseeable future. That's not what he's telling people, but that's what he's gonna do.
Canelo should keep doing what he's doing, said Benavidez Sr. At the end of the day, he sells and entertains, but I wouldn't call him a pound-for-pound or elite fighter. He's not there no more. He will never face David at the end of the day. Benavidez Sr. then zeroed in on their next desired challenge. I hope Bivol doesn't give up his belts like he let go of his WBC belt instead of fighting David, said Benavidez Sr. He's a great fighter and a dangerous fighter. Bivol would be a tough fight, but we want to make it happen. It's time to make the fight.
So says Jose Benavidez Sr., where Samson Lewkowicz is saying something a little bit different. He's saying they're not going to wait around for Dimitri.
Of course they're not.
The fight we want to go after is Bivol, Samson Lewkowicz told Boxing Scene. This is what Benavidez wants. If the belt were made, it would be for the undisputed light heavyweight crown, barring that neither fighter loses a title in the process. Benavidez is established. One of the most impressive recent runs in the sport, with wins over Ramirez, David Morrell, Demetrius Andrade, and Caleb Plant, once burdened by waiting for the then super middleweight king, Alvarez. The 29-year-old Benavidez has made his own destiny without the Mexican star.
So why can't he shut the fuck up about him then?
Benavidez's name has been attached to Alvarez for some time, with no fight ever developing. In June of 2024, Benavidez all but shut the door on an Alvarez fight by moving up to light heavyweight and defeating Oleksandr Vazdik. He has fought twice more at light heavyweight and now at cruiser. The Mexican monster has shown ferocious power with endurance and blinding hand speed, making him one of the most exciting fighters of his generation. Benavidez has become a fan favorite and landed high on pound-for-pound lists, yet the remnants of a failed Canelo fight linger. Benavidez' team is targeting Bivol, but it will not sit around holding out hope again. He will not wait like he did for Canelo for nothing. Now he has his own legacy, Lewkowicz said of Benavidez. I believe Bivol, hopefully, isn't another Canelo, but you never know.
Yes, we do. Between David Benavidez offering 190-pound catchweight for the fight, which is still cruiserweight, by the way, and now Sampson saying that they're not going to wait for Bivol.
You kinda have to. He's fighting Michael Eifert.
They're just laying the groundwork for David to not return to the light heavyweight division.
They're cushioning the blow.
When he doesn't, even though underneath it all, it was never their plan to, because the guys ain't like the girls to where they just yo-yo and weight going up and down. When the guys go up, they usually stay up. And this ain't just a few pounds we're talking about, like the move from welter up to junior middle. The move from light heavy up to cruiser is one of the bigger jumps in all of boxing. The only jump bigger than that is cruiser up to heavy.
Where the fighters have no ceiling, no limit to what they can come in weighing.
And as stated, between David Benavidez now talking about 190-pound catchweight, which is still cruiser, by the way, and Sampson saying that they're not going to wait around for Dimitri, you have to wonder, what is he going to do if he doesn't fight Dimitri, but he doesn't want to fight Jai now either?
Don't let the rest of the year come and go without a Jai Opetaia fight, because those are very poor optics. If you end up staying in the cruiserweight division and the Bivol fight doesn't happen,
The question's going to be, well, why didn't you just fight Jai while you're up there?
could they have someone else in mind? Some other fight that they're keeping in their back pocket?
For some other title? The IBF title is still vacant at this time, and it's looking more and more like Vidal Riley may end up fighting for it. If he wins it, I don't think he's going to roll the dice with David. I don't think Vidal Riley's going to fight him. Maybe Noel Mikhailian might?
Why won't Vidal Riley fight him?
Vidal Riley's not a guy who's strapped for cash. He already had a social media following, a large one, at the very start of his boxing career, and he still has one now, to where I don't see him rolling the dice with David. Leaving only Noel Mikhailian, the reigning WBC champion who at this time doesn't seem to be under any orders to fight anyone. He's available,
But he's just as available for Jai Opetaia as he is for David. This is all the more reason that Zuffa needs to flex some of that money muscle and get Jai Opetaia that fight. Don't let David beat you to the punch.
beat you to that guy. The way you gotta play it, you make an offer to David, a sizable offer, and you publicize it everywhere they can read and write.
Put him on the spot.
Let everybody know that you're trying to make that fight, and when David turns the offer down, and rest assured he's going to, you'll have Noel Mikhailian in your back pocket.
That's how you gotta play it.
You guys are fucking off money on Conor Benn, fucking off more money on Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, these boring, skinny fighters.
Offer Fat David some money. What's stopping you?
Offer him some money to do the Jai Opetaia fight, but also lock in Noel Mikhailian for when David turns it down, because rest assured, he's going to, and when he does, you want to have Noel Mikhailian in your back pocket. You want to get Jai another alphabet title. Ideally, this would all happen over the summer months and the build up to it. I'd like to see him fight mid to late summer, and depending on how that fight goes, maybe one more time before the year is out, because one thing I do know is David Benavidez is not going to fight 3 times this year.
That works against him.
I would be surprised if he fights at all in what remains of this year, but so long as Jai Opetaia is still out there getting seen and beating people up, it keeps the conversation going, the momentum, and the pressure on David to face him.
Us in the media have inferred, can he make it up to heavyweight? He's already a big guy. Just curious on that, if you see them potentially as heavyweights.
Come on over. The more the merrier, man. Yeah, I think they both have the capability of being heavyweights. I think because there's been smaller heavyweights in them, it's a different beast though. I think every weight class has their own traits that they want to have. I think like with Benavidez having that just that constant pressure, stuff like that, you really do gotta be worried about one shot in the heavyweights though. You know, sometimes these guys will take and eat like 3 or 4 shots, just throw out one haymaker, heavy quitter.
It's all valid what Richard Torres said. May sound crazy to some people that he's inviting David Benavidez up to heavyweight, but think about what people have been saying. I saw one guy who goes by the name Shinobi Jose. At this point, I've got David Benavidez beating every boxer on the planet. AJ, Usyk, Opataya, Fury, Dubois, Inoue, Serrano, Katie Taylor, Shields, Fundora, Haney, Tank, Shakur, Boots, both of the 175-pound Russians. At this point, I've got to see him lose in order to say it's possible.
Is that sarcasm or is he being serious?
No, he's being serious. I screenshotted this tweet immediately following David's win over Zerto because you know how Americans get wound up over these predictable outcomes.
They watch a guy win a fight that everybody expects him to win and think he hails the moon and the stars for meeting those expectations. Zerto Ramirez is a far cry from what David would face in the heavyweight division. I do not expect him to go up there. The same guy who's putting a Jai Opataya fight all the way out there 2 years from now, I don't think will ever be comfortable enough to box as a heavyweight. It's a different beast. Like Richie said,
Boils down to bone density and muscle mass. You know, David Benavidez is a big boy, right? About 6'2", 6'3", walks around 2 and change. But he's not built like a Joseph Parker, for example. And Joseph isn't even the biggest heavyweight. You can see the difference in these fighters and how they're built. Bigger head because he's got a bigger skull, broader shoulders.
they think David's speed is going to avail him against these guys.
I mean, he's got hand speed. I'm not even saying that he doesn't, but it would take more than that. I think David's too stationary to be a heavyweight. He's got hand speed, but no foot speed. That's how Roy Jones Jr. was able to out-hustle John Ruiz for the WBA heavyweight title. For years now, that's how Alexander Usyk has outmaneuvered these guys and exhausted them with foot speed.
David doesn't have that. David is not that kind of fighter. At the very most, he's a pressure guy.
You want to go standing in front of these fighters that weigh anywhere in between 225 to 275? Not a good idea.
You're thinking about what he did to Zerto, but don't forget, Zerto used to fight as low as 168. He's a big boy. The guys at heavyweight, they're even bigger.
Those little shoe shines that David likes to throw would not have the effect on them that they might have had on a Zerto Ramirez and what other smaller fighters he has encountered. Remember, this is the guy who didn't knock out Caleb Plant. This is the guy who didn't knock out Alexander Vosdik. This is the guy who didn't knock out David Morrell.
So what, he's gonna go up there and start knocking heavyweights out? Are you fucking serious? Oh, no. He's gonna cruise to a points decision every fight.
Telling you, he doesn't have the bone density or the frame to box as a heavyweight. A lot of the weight that he's put on, it's not even muscle, it's fat and water.
Why do you think he looks so soft in the body? Why do you think he's got man boobs?
It boils down to bone density. Those guys up there are just bigger guys with bigger bones, bigger frames, more muscle mass. They'd run David Benavidez over, which might sound taboo because he's hot right now, and there are some people that like him, but reality is what reality is. He's not cut out to campaign as a heavyweight.
And I don't expect that he ever will. He's not stupid.
Heavyweight, true blue bona fide heavyweight, ain't gotta hit David but once, and he's gonna turn into fucking sand.